2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into it. Hey, happy Wednesday for the middle of the week. We have plenty to talk about today. I know I'm not going to be able to cover all of it in one show. We have a new food pyramid. We have a new health recommendation for eating guidelines. We have hearings going on in Congress regarding the fraud in Minnesota. And then, of course, we have this new shooting that happened with ICE agents in Minneapolis. That one just happening relatively recently, so we will break it all down the best we can. Make sure to like it out, share it out, leave that comment, break the algorithm. Let's do this thing for a midweek celebration. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Wow, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is your midweek celebration, and I'm going to warn you right now, there is zero chance of us getting through everything that we want to talk about on this program today. So much happening. We have a brand new food guideline from the CDC and the Health and Human Services and the FDA and the USDA, so all the health agencies and food agencies. We have hearings in Congress regarding the fraud in Minneapolis. We have a shooting that just happened recently that is now under scrutiny with the ICE agents. And yeah, then we have our great guest on the program at the bottom of the hour. So zero reason we're going to get to all this. We will do our darndest and welcome into the show for your midweek celebration, broadcasting right here in the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station, KQAM. But we are all over the country. So many great radio stations across the nation doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on this program. Chris Salcido is on the program, bottom of the hour, with Newsmax TV. He is an author and host of his own Newsmax TV show and a podcaster and radio show host, so we'll get him on the show at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about the Nicolas Maduro issue and where we're at with Venezuela, the Hispanic community, and a heck of a lot more. So that will be happening at the bottom of the hour. Before we do that, though,
what's trending today?
Food pyramid. That's a big one that we will try to get to here. I want to spend some time on it. I don't know if we're going to get to it today because there is some bigger breaking news happening right now. Just recently, if you have not been paying attention, there was a shooting up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where one woman has been shot and killed during an ICE operation where ICE agents ended up shooting her. And, of course, so begins the hysteria from both sides of the aisle on where we're going to go from here.
We're all gonna die because of you!
Now, of course, as you know, the demonization of ICE has been ongoing from the left for a while, and they're just trying to do their job. They have a mission to go get a bad guy who's an illegal alien that has committed crimes. They're not just rounding up everybody. They specifically are going after people that have broken the law, and they're going and arresting them and then processing them through deportation. That's their job. That's what they're there, and that's what they're supposed to be doing, and apparently Democrats aren't liking that. So what happened, at least from we can see and from what we know as the investigation is ongoing, there were multiple different ICE vehicles that were in the middle of the street. According to the statement from ICE themselves, they say that one of their vehicles had been stuck in the snow. It is Minneapolis. There is snow on the ground. And as they were trying to get their vehicle out of the snow, there is another vehicle that is kind of or kind of T-shaped or blocking the road to block the rest of the ICE agents, which was this woman. ICE agents go to her vehicle. She all of a sudden backs up slightly and begins to speed off with an ICE agent right beside her window, another agent that was on the other side of her vehicle right beside her window, and another agent that was directly in front of her vehicle. And she begins to speed off. Now, I've seen the video in multiple different angles. And the question is, was it a legitimate shooting? Was it not a legitimate shooting? The first question I have before we even get to the shooting part of it is, why is a woman catty corner and blocking the road, T-boning, essentially, and blocking traffic from ICE to begin with? To me, that would be, if we're going to look at this from an analytical sense, whether it was right, whether it was wrong, that's my first question. There are multiple individuals with video cameras out right now, which is why we have different angles of the shooting. That means protesters were there. That means anti-ICE individuals were there already. And if that's the case, was she one of them, which it sounds like she potentially, allegedly may have been. And for the fact that she was sitting there sideways on the road, blocking the traffic where she was at, it's not like she had spun off and she was just there because she got stuck and spun on the ice or something. There's no ice where they're at in the middle of the road, right there. But she's blocking ICE agents. They approach her vehicle. She speeds off in a bit of a rage. And then, I don't know, a couple hundred feet later, she swerves off into the side because she had been shot and crashes into another vehicle head on. And they run to try to address the situation. I've seen different angles of the video. And from what it looks like, was she trying to hit an individual? I don't know that she was necessarily trying to hit an individual. What it does look like is that she was in a bit of a rage. And as they tried to approach her vehicle, she didn't like that. And she was speeding off in haste regardless and not being aware or considering at all the individuals that were around her car. And as the individual that is in front of her vehicle sees that she's pulling off and trying to speed away with people close and in danger, pulls out his firearm and fires in front of her as she begins to run past him. I don't know. I shared it on the Facebook page. I can't share the video, the audio of it, because you can't see it, for one. Number two, there's some foul language in it, so I don't know. Here's my speculation, here's my prediction on it.
Andy's prediction
Is lesson learned, maybe you just shouldn't be messing with ICE. If you're there and ICE agents are doing an operation, this is what's happening. The protesters are angry that they're there, which is probably why she was there in the first place. And lesson learned, don't mess with law enforcement when they're trying to do an operation, period, end of story. That would solve the entire situation. Oh, there's ICE agents. Maybe I should get away from the situation. No, they want to obstruct. They want to cause issues. And the statement from Christine Noem is like, hey, we were trying to do an operation, period, end of story.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well.
All right, so that's the official statement from ICE, from Christine Noem, as I believe she was maybe down in Texas, had a big old cowboy hat on and was outside with it, kind of windy. But that's the official statement, that they tried to ram the individuals, which it looks like she was extremely reckless. If she wasn't trying to intentionally hit an individual, she was definitely trying to speed in the zone where ICE agents were walking beside her vehicle in a reckless manner that led to them fearful. And this is the same conversation that we hear during law enforcement with normal cops and police departments and sheriff departments, of people that, are not following rules, abiding and trying to obstruct operations from law enforcement, or trying to obstruct law enforcement just in general because they hate cops. And this leads to this type of event that's very unfortunate event. But now who's to blame? It's going to go under investigation for sure, because now we have Democrats up in the state of Minnesota that are openly advocating and supporting the protesters and not learning their lesson from this, but in fact getting angrier at ICE agents altogether.
The desire to get out and protest, and and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is. That is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need.
Wait a second. This is the peaceful resistance. Governor Tim Walz, in a situation when a citizen has now obstructed ICE agents, blocking them in the road, blocking traffic from allowing them to go and do what they need to do, is a peaceful protest, and it's a patriotic duty. And while he's like, yeah, it's an unfortunate event that this actually happened, it's a patriotic duty for them to be protesting ICE because of how unlawful that they're acting. And this to them is just the notch in the belt for them to be like, look how bad ICE agents are. And this is the typical way that the Democrats run. We got to remember here is that, number one, you demonize a certain group. Donald Trump's a Nazi. Donald Trump's an authoritarian. Donald Trump's a fascist. Donald Trump's a fill in the blank. ICE agents are the same thing. ICE agents are Nazi. They're the gulag. They're coming to get you. They're going to come and get you and throw you in prison.
We're all gonna die because of you!
And then they advocate and support the protests that turned violent, which is why we've seen the vandalizing of certain ICE buildings across the nation. We've seen the shooting of ICE agents. We've seen the shooting of military personnel. And when questioned on that, they're just like, it's an unfortunate event. Oh, so sorry our law enforcement and our military died or got hurt in the line of duty when you weren't supposed to be doing it in the first place. And then when something like this does happen, they say, well, we're the victim. You shouldn't have been there in the first place. In fact, taking it to an entirely another level, the newly elected mayor of Minnesota also released a statement today during this press conference and had a very strong message himself on what ICE should be doing.
I have a message for ICE. To ICE, Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
So, again, they're getting bad guys out. The Democrats in the area don't want the bad guys to be out, so they cause protests and obstruction of the operations. And then when the operations get out of hand, they're saying that, well, you cause more problems than you do solutions, so you just need to get the heck out of town. Get out of Dodge there, buddy. That's what they're advocating for. What kind of timeline do we live in? When you defend the bad guys, and then you demonize the good guys trying to get rid of the bad guys, and then when you obstruct the good guys from getting the bad guys, then the good guys are now the bad guys because they're causing more problems, and it's their fault. It's not your fault for allowing them to just do the operation. Does that make I know that was a lot. It made your brain hurt. Does that make any sense to anybody whatsoever? I have a theory on this, and this is nothing more than another distraction from what we're seeing with the ongoing fraudulent investigations in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, in the Somali population, in the daycare fraud, because they're trying to distract from that issue by demonizing things on our side of the aisle, and it's really unfortunate. I'm not trying to defend ICE if they had done something wrong. I've seen the video many times, and look, maybe he got a little trigger happy, and I say that vaguely, maybe. But if you're standing in front of a vehicle that shouldn't be there in the first place, that's obstructing you from doing what you need to do, and she ends up speeding right in front of you, trying to get away very hastily in a road rage and a very emotional state, your response as someone is to defend yourself, which is what this individual looked like he did. So I don't know that we necessarily have any wrongdoing here other than someone that reacted to a situation that shouldn't have been there in the first place. It could have been completely avoided if the individual was not obstructing traffic in the first place. And that's the question that I have, because we don't have video of that section of it, at least right now, that's public floating on social media. All we have is where she's already T-boning the road and blocking and obstructing traffic from going through, that led to ICE agents getting out of their vehicle and approaching her because they needed her to move. Was she stuck? Maybe, but it looked unlikely from the video that I saw. Was she trying to intentionally hit somebody? Probably not, it looked like, but she was in an emotional state where she was getting away but didn't really care who was around her at that time. I don't know. It's going to be up to you. You can find the video on social media. We shared it on our Facebook page, and you can get your thoughts on that one. At the same time, there were hearings going on in Congress today from a committee that was talking to individuals from the state of Minnesota regarding the fraud that's going on there in Somali, in the Somali populations in Minneapolis, and they definitely escalated. We'll cover some of that audio when we get back here after the break, because this is all integrated in all the same type of conversation. There is something going on in Minnesota. There is something going on with Governor Tim Walz. There's something going on with the Democrats who are now at a level of TDS and hateful of hateful of Republicans, hateful of the Trump administration, to such a level that they're wanting individuals to obstruct and put themselves in harm's way or create harmful situations and then play the victim in order to try and demonize. If this is what they have for the midterm elections, that's going to fail miserably. I'm telling you, people see through this stuff, and the fact that this is floating all over social media, I think people are going to come to their own conclusion, and I don't necessarily think, I could be wrong, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be the situation or the result or the conclusion that they're hoping for in their ways to try and demonize ICE, law enforcement in general, in the Trump administration. I could be wrong there, but we'll see what happens. The mayor, the governor, saying it's their patriotic duty to fight ICE, and then ICE shoots somebody, and now they're the bad guys. Very strange situation for a Wednesday today. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply just laid out some of those parameters. We can do that. This is the peaceful resistance that we need.
The peaceful resistance. I love that term. I love how they tried to say that a communist revolution and stopping law enforcement from doing what they're intended to do is a peaceful revolution here, and we need to do it safely. Yeah, maybe not obstruct law enforcement with your vehicle and then try to speed off with them right around you. That's an idea. Look, I feel terrible. I wish that this didn't happen. This is completely avoidable, and we can stop this from happening if you would, I don't know, let law enforcement do their job. What a wild, crazy concept. Wild and crazy, man. Unbelievable. By the way, I mentioned that you can see the video on our Facebook page. I did share that out. If you want to, and while you're on the interweb, make sure to go to our website in the next day or two. You will see a couple new features that we're going to be putting right on the homepage, so be aware of that. And while you're on our Facebook page, we've just posted a video. We have a new partner coming on the show next week. We posted an announcement video on there. Our promo code is ready and available right now, so go and check that out. What is it all about? It's about helping out with your New Year's resolutions, and it fits right in with the MAHA movement that we're seeing today with the new food pyramid. I wish we had more time to cover that. We'll have to spend some time on that one tomorrow. But on regards to the committee hearings that were going on today,
what's trending today?
I really think it fits right in with the conversation we're having about the law enforcement agents, ICE agents, and the shooting of the individual, as Congress and a committee was hearing the fraud that's going on in Minnesota, the fraud that's going on in Minneapolis, and coincidentally, the distraction that we're getting from that type of conversation on the peak, the tip of the iceberg, that we're starting to learn about these frauds and why we're continuously funding them. Remember, Congress right now is in the middle of their appropriations process, trying to pass the budget, trying to pass the appropriations bills before the end of this month, before the government shuts down again, which means all of the fraud that we're seeing right now on these social programs are being funded and approved by Congress as we speak, with that money still going to these agencies that are spending in billions upon billions upon billions of dollars in wasteful spending. A lot of it now in the mandatory spending category, obviously, but that means that we need to go in and look at things that we're not usually allowed to, because Democrats get mad and say that everybody's going to die if we end up reforming social program spending categories. But as more of this is coming out, we realize it's nothing more than the political tactic to, again, cause havoc, throw the wrench in the system, play the victim, and blame the people that are trying to fix it.
And I have been yelled at by Democrats over and over again throughout our time there to say that there is no fraud, this is just made up.
Yeah, this is the template. You see this all the time. The left will tell a lie. We're feeding kids when they're not, when they're just shaking down the taxpayer. The left will tell a lie. The media will report the lie or not report when the truth comes out. And then when you tell the truth, they call you racist. It's as old as time. We see it all the time. This is so wrong. God bless you all for coming forward and getting the facts to the people in Minnesota, and more importantly, to the people of this great country.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was one person that was actually on our side trying to expose a lot of this. There were some electeds and some representatives from the state of Minnesota that were not so friendly on that one. In fact, they were trying to justify what was going on, saying it wasn't happening. Remember the whole, these aren't the droids you're looking for. That's what we're up against right now, and it's kind of insane.
Yes, you does. Large-scale Somali immigration make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Certainly stronger.
Certainly stronger. Do you know what percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on food stamps?
No.
54%. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Well, to be clear, a majority of the...
It's 7%. There's a big difference between 54% and 7%, is there not?
Excuse me, sir, could I answer the question?
Let me move on. We've got a lot of questions here. What percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on Medicaid?
I don't know.
It's 73%. Do you know what?
Can you imagine? Over 80%, by the way, of the Somali population in Minneapolis are on some form of social program in general. Over 80%, 82, 83%. Now, as we're bringing people into the nation, and not just Somali population, but any population, anywhere from anywhere around the world, it's not a racist thing, Are they assets to the nation, or are they going to be sucking on the government dime?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
Mid-America Business Minute. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 466 points today to 48,996. The S&P 500 was also down 23 points to 6920, and the Nasdaq was up 37 points to 23,584. Financials and energy, two of the sectors that started off 2026 strong, saw losses during the trading day, with both declining more than 1%. Bank stocks that ended the session lower included J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips were key laggards in the energy space. In oil news, Brent crude futures fell 74 cents to close at $59.96, and WTI crude slid $1.14 to settle at $55.99 a barrel. Gold was down $33 to $4,463 an ounce. I'm Stephanie Austin.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
From San Antonio, Texas, this is the Joe Pag Show.
I remember growing up, I don't remember anybody ever having something called autism. I'm 59 now. I graduated high school in 1984. I don't recall anything about anybody having something called autism. I just never heard of it. And then all of a sudden, it started being a thing. He yesterday said that it's 1 in 20 for girls and like 1 in 12 for boys. Those are numbers off the top of his head, but that is outrageous.
The Joe Pag Show, weekdays at 5 on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back to it. Great to have you here as our midweek celebration continues here for the Voice of Reason. Want to shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about Maduro. Let's talk about Venezuela and the Hispanic population. What's been the response on this? Because obviously Democrats say it's been really bad with what we did in Venezuela. We need socialist dictators back in office, apparently, or something. But what's the real scoop going on? That's where we go to our...
Let's go to the Hoosier Media Hotline.
That's right. Don't want to waste any time. He is a host on Newsmax TV. He has his podcast, and he is author of the new book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. Really happy to have on the program Chris Salcedo. Chris, how are you, my friend?
Happy New Year. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. It's great to have you on the show. I'm looking forward to this. I am so excited to see what's in store for us this year because this was a bombshell. We've been hearing the interviews of the Venezuelan people. They've been celebrating and said, we really don't care who did it, but we wanted Nicolas Maduro out of there. We want to bring our country back from the brink here. This is exciting news right now, Chris.
It is, and I think there's a lesson here for Americans, especially Americans who live in places like New York, who just voted in Marxism and socialism. The Venezuelan people have been given a second chance to be prosperous and free again because somebody like President Trump existed. Yeah. Somebody was willing to use force to help them shed the dictatorship of socialism that had overtaken their country. Remember, the Venezuelans were stupid enough to vote in socialism. And the old axiom goes, if you are stupid enough to vote in socialism and give up your rights, there is no peaceful way to get those rights back. And the Venezuelans are living proof of that. They are the canary in the coal mine for those of us here in the United States. Since the Venezuelans are able to now throw out the yoke of socialism in their country, courtesy of the United States, let's hope in 2026 our people decide to do the same.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a great... were you surprised, Chris, when all this happened? We had Democrats for years, and we had the tweets. We had the op-eds from the New York Times. We had the videos of them on congressional floors saying that we need to remove Maduro, that we need to do a regime change. We need to get him out of office. We have to get rid of this dictator and this narco-terrorist. And they've been advocating it for years. In fact, even criticized the Trump administration in round number 1 with the fact that he didn't do anything with Nicolas Maduro. Now that he has, they're like, well, we're glad that he's out, but you did it the wrong way and you didn't tell us about it. Were you surprised in the response on this?
Surprised, probably the wrong word. I was marveling at how the biased press allows the Democrats to get away with, from just a little over 2 months ago, saying, no kings in our streets, to now saying, free the dictator. It's amazing to watch this. And you folks at ABC, NBC, CBS, the fake news, CNN, MSNBS, all of you folks out there, you are all Class A hypocrites for not calling out the Democrats on this stuff.
Yeah. Is this the wake-up call? Now that we have Zohran Mamdani, the new mayor for New York City, and he's talking about the free socialism. And in fact, just before we got on the phone here for the interview, I was watching videos of New Yorkers still advocating for socialism, even after hearing directly from a Venezuelan who had gone through a lot of this. They're still adamant about their socialism. is this the wake-up call for many to say, wow, people are celebrating to get rid of it. Maybe we should reevaluate our priorities here?
Well, for those of us who are Americans, who are real Americans, it's not a wake-up call. This is what we know intuitively because we're Americans.
Yeah.
Now, look, I was asked this question in another interview about New York. Do you think they'll wake up? No. I got a buddy of mine who goes on the Salcedo Storm podcast with me every week. His name is Sean, and we do something called the show behind the show. I mean, you have producers, and some of the stuff that goes on when the microphone is off, that's a show in and of itself, right? Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So we decided to make the show behind the show because we used to have when we were working together at another radio station, we used to have some great content that now I can put on podcasting. Anyway, he says it's of all issues, it's just not gotten bad enough. It's just not gotten bad enough for people to go, oh, wait a minute. Now, Venezuelans, they've been through the ringer. They can say, yeah, it got bad enough for us, folks.
Yeah.
So we're kind of happy to see this go. But I think it's going to take New York crumbling. I mean, you see what's happening in California, that U-Haul survey that just came out, that for the 6th straight year in a row, the best thing to do in California is leave. And more U-Haul trucks are because that's what happens when you're a socialist and a Marxist. Nobody wants to be around you. You stink. You're putrid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are leaving these areas, and I'm afraid that it saddens me because New York, of the iconic nature of New York, but it's going to have to happen. It's going to have to crash and burn. Praise God the rest of the country doesn't follow suit, so good New Yorkers will have a place to flee to.
Yeah, it is sad that we have to go to that point, and I wonder what that line is that's going to be drawn to finally people say, you know what, we can't do this, because it's already bad. We have crime rates that are out there, we have homelessness that's out there, we have drug abuse, we have mental health issues, we have the cost of living, we have so many issues that are already a problem from Democrat policies that have been there for a while. I'm curious on what that line's finally going to be, because normally when things go bad, they blame the victim and say, well, Republicans didn't let us go as far as what we'd like. We just have to have a purer version of socialism, and all of a sudden it'll work. So I don't know where that line is, Chris.
Well, that's why leftists hate us. That's why the folks in California, New York, and Illinois, that's why they hate Texas, Florida, other free states, because they're of the mindset, oh, you guys keep on proving that socialism sucks.
Yeah.
You guys keep proving it. If everybody was a socialist, everybody would be equally miserable. And then you wouldn't have any basis of comparison. That's one of the greatest, it's the lie that was told by Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. It's the lie that's being told by Democrats. And their voters, they buy the lie that the diminished quality of life, the diminished way of living is the best you can hope for. And people actually believe that. And, of course, as these same Democrats live opulent lifestyles off the backs of all the fraud they've perpetrated against the American people.
Yeah, it's insane. We're talking with Chris Salcedo, Newsmax TV, his podcast, and author of his book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. Your thoughts real quickly on, we saw the first court hearing for Maduro on Monday this week, right after the extraction from him in Venezuela. What is his future look like? What does the future of Maduro look like? Will it be a quick trial? Will this be drug out? Or will the legal system, the DOJ, or the activist judges in this nation drag this out and give him a sweetheart deal?
Well, Mrs. Salcedo asked me this. She goes, I got to ask, here you arrest the socialist dictator of Venezuela and you bring him to the United States and you put him in communist and socialist central in New York.
Yeah.
Where you've got corrupt judges up the, and by the way, my wife's not a very political person, but she's plugged in enough to know, hey, maybe that's the wrong place to put the communists and the socialists on trial.
Yeah.
Is in communist Central America, and she also is aware of the problems that have erupted from corrupt judges that you mentioned. And my understanding was it was because that's where the original charges were filed. Joe DeGena, Victoria Tunsing, you know the names, the legal eagles over at the Chris Salcedo Show, they tell me that they should refile this right away in something like the Southern District of Florida or Texas or something like that,
yeah.
Just to make sure that the trial is adequate and severe enough and serious enough to make sure that this narco-terrorist, this socialist dictator, is handled. I will predict there's going to be the Judge Boasbergs of the world who will do their best to deliver for their kind, leftist, Marxist.
Yeah.
But I think we will see justice because the polls are already showing that Americans are cool with what we just did.
Right.
And they're just not going to give the president in an election year, 2026, another talking point to show just how bat guano crazy they are. Those Democrats are.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point, and that's where I wanted to go with this next one. Kind of a two-part question here is, number one, the Hispanic community, they really went for the Trump administration, for President Trump in the 2024 election, overwhelmingly, really across the nation, even in Texas where it was deep blue areas in many cases, like Starr County, that's like 98% Hispanic and overwhelmingly went Republican for the first time in 100 years. Overwhelming went Trump. Then we saw the polls in the Hispanic community kind of tear over the past few months with the raids and with the ICE raids and the deportations and so on and so forth, and some fear tactics. Now after this, we're seeing those poll numbers bump back up. Does this help the Trump administration and Republicans with the Hispanic community going into midterm election? And part two of that question is, where do the Democrats lie with their platform as they go into election season to try to appeal back to that community?
Yeah, the answer, when Ana Navarro of The View, who hates President Trump with a passion, when she comes out and says this was a good thing,
yeah,
you know that Democrats are going, oh gosh. And kudos to President Trump with adhering to the Reagan mantra of good policy makes good politics, right? If only the Republican Party would learn from President Trump. What is President Trump doing? He's taking action, which is more than I can say for the Republican Party. Will President Trump's actions redound positively down ticket when he's not on the ballot this time around to the Republicans? The simple answer is yes. To the degree that it helps them, I don't know, because let's you and I be honest here about the Republicans' conduct this last year. What have they codified into law to protect us from the leftists and the Marxists? What have they done to codify the America First agenda in law? Not much. I mean, what they did do, the one big beautiful bill, I mean, okay, yes, great initiatives in there and great help for the United States and our people from Trump, but guess what? Republicans like Mike Lawler and Lisa Murkowski and all these fake Republicans told us, hey, you know what? We got to fund all the Democrat stuff too. So the Republicans ended up overspending even more than Democrats were, even more than Beijing Biden. And they did it. They fully funded all the fraud that's being uncovered before our eyes.
Right.
That is something that I'm sorry, if the Republicans don't right the ship, and I told Congressman Wesley Hunt this yesterday, by my reckoning, you guys got about 6 months to do something, anything, to show that you are America First. If you don't, I think 2026 is a toss-up as to whether or not the Congress is held by Republicans.
Yeah, it's sad, but I completely agree. We gave them a golden platter, and they haven't done much with that. Chris, hang on the line. We'll continue this conversation when we come back around the corner for The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, D.C.'s broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
When it comes to something like sausage, I know you want the best quality, the best flavor, and the best in services. Andy Hooser here for J&S Smoked Snacks. And it's time for you to try their handcrafted sausage, made in small batches for freshness and seasoned with their signature blends. You won't find anything else like it. Make sure to try their one-of-the-kind dill pickle sausage made with real pickles, or spice things up with my favorite, the jalapeno cheddar sausage. Taste the difference today at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever. Every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy The Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with The Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, welcome back to it. Moving through here, one more segment left as we wrap things up for the hour, man. It's been crazy how quickly this flies on by. Want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. As you know, we are officially in the 250th birthday of the nation, and we need to be prepared for the midterm elections. We need to be prepared to understand the greatness of this nation, the 250 years and the people that have fought to make this nation the way it is today, which is still the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And I want you to go to a website, takeonesmallstep.com. That's takeonesmallstep.com. You can learn about what we can do now to fight for conservative American traditional values. We can also learn about the past, on the greatness of the average American all throughout time that has stand up to face the challenges of their time, to rise up, and to continue to make America great. That campaign is going on right now. You can teach yourself, your neighbors, your family, your friends, your kids, your grandkids. It does not matter. It is free to sign up. Just go to takeonesmallstep.com, takeonesmallstep.com with our friends over at Americans for Prosperity. All right, having a really interesting conversation with Chris Salcedo. He's author of the book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. You can also see his TV program on Newsmax TV, and of course, go check out his podcast. Chris, let's shift gears and let's talk about the Hispanic population in general. The outreach, the communication. How do we saw a big win for Trump in the first election. Then we saw the polls kind of deteriorate a little bit. Now we're seeing them come back, obviously, with Venezuela. How do we continue to win over the Hispanic population and keep them on the conservative Republican side?
Every time I talk to Republican groups, they bring me up, and that's the first question they ask me. How do we do outreach? Which I hate that term. Outreach is what Democrats do.
Yeah.
They do it every 2 years. I prefer the word partnership. Remember, outreach is your hands, your palms facing upward, right? You're asking for something, you want something. That's what Democrats do. When you do partnership, your hand is in the handshake position, and you're going to be there in the community. So the number one advice I give to Republicans out there, if you want to be vibrant in the Latino community, talk to them. You have the superior message if you just live by it and you just advocate it and institute it. Talk to them. And I got to say this, man, the reason why President Trump got a record number of Latinos, historic, and it is what we saw with the election of President Trump was the greatest political revolution since the formation of the Republican Party, when Latinos defected en masse from the Democrats, and the majority of Latino males voted for President Trump, and 48% of Hispanics writ large voted for President Trump. It was an earthquake. Now, you rightly pointed out that some of the propaganda that's going on over these ICE arrests have, wavered some of those numbers. But, what's going on with Maduro, that is bringing some of that back, and good policy makes good politics. So I outlined this in the book. Thank God when the Democrats were saying that little Susie can be little Johnny can be little Susie, the best woman for the job is a man in women's sports, and men can have babies. Thank God when the Latinos said, I don't want to call myself Latinx. What is that?
Right.
Thank God there wasn't Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan or one of these other fake Republicans sitting there saying, hey, look at us. Look what's under the hood over here on the Republican side. Latinos had a place to go when President Trump was there. And that is the cautionary tale I outlined in the book to all you Republicans out there. You better darn straight start getting in gear and showing that you're worth something. President Trump is showing you the way. It's up to you whether or not you follow.
It's what it's about, my friend. We have a long ways to go, but we're moving in the right direction, which is why we're the eternal optimists here on the program. It is The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino. Go and check it out on Amazon, other places as well. Go check out the Newsmax TV show, the podcast, and so much more. Chris, I love it, my friend. Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much. We got to get you back on again real soon.
Appreciate it as always.
You bet, Chris. Appreciate it very much. Again, Chris Salcedo, he is author of the book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. Also find him on Newsmax TV, and, of course, find his podcast and radio show. Great conversation there. It is so true. The conversation, the handshake, the partnership with the Hispanic population that has so much value to America and to so many communities around the country, it's what we have to focus on, and getting the bad guys out and keeping the good guys here and making a better, easier pathway for individuals to come in, focusing on America first, and for those that actually want to, be an asset to the American system. Right now, I had seen that during these hearings that we have with the Somali fraud population, so on and so forth, that we have the majority of the Somali population, apparently, according to one elected official, that said that roughly 87% of the population is on some form of social program, Medicare, Medicaid, and food stamps or something. That's not an asset to America when we're just busing people in to be on the public dime. That's not how this works. If you're going to be here, you're going to be an asset to the nation, and that's what we need to focus on again. But we'll continue that conversation later on. Until then, it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. It is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you back on the radio before you know it for a pre-Friday celebration. So much more to get to throughout this week. We'll see you on the radio. Bye. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. When I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
The best way to understand all sides of an issue is to know all sides of an issue.
Can't get that in the mainstream media, which is why you've got to listen to some Clay and Buck for